And we are back.
We are back, bumblebees.
Episode 2 of season 2 of the side piece. We're bringing it back.
We're bringing it back. Hey, we're bringing it back.
Dumping the interviews pretty much as anything other than bonus content. And we are going to be recording emails for Fridays now as well. We just recorded episode 1, so we're not going to do a whole lot of banter in the beginning of this, which we're trying to dial back on anyways. But real quick, just for those of you who are new here, what we do is we are Chris and Peaches.
Yes.
We do email readings from people and try to give them better communication skills, try to help them with personal growth and development, business, parenting, just to be a better person. We are not therapists. We're not doctors. We can't prescribe medicine. We are just two people who have lived life experience and have gone through a lot of shit and are trying to make it so that you don't have to. Mm-hmm. We are not going to be able to control your person. If you send an email in and we read it, we are going to break down the information that is given. And sometimes that means we're going to pick you apart. So be aware of that when you send emails in, and you are going to get an unbiased, honest opinion from us as to what's going on in your situation based off of the words that you send in.
I found a thank you email that references that.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. We should... Is it ready to go?
Yes, it's after this.
Okay, dope. Well, you'll get to hear all about that at the end. So we're going to read an email. Depending on how long it is, we might do 2, and then we'll follow up with a thank you email and call it a day. Hope you enjoys the show. Subscribe, like, all that bullshit.
All right, guys. So I am sick. I have a sinus infection going on. Earlier, I looked at my husband and said, I feel like a booger. And he said, you sound like one. So I have fever brain. My thoughts are not very cohesive.
But we're here anyways.
I'm here for more of the comedic relief today. Unless it gets cut. We'll see. This email is titled Testosterone Loss and Its Destruction.
Okay.
And this is from the woman of the relationship.
Okay.
Hey guys, I don't know if you've covered this topic or not, but I just wanted to share my current situation with my, partner, ?
Well, this isn't off to a very good start.
I kind of don't know where we stand right now. We've been together for a little over 5 years. We were engaged for 3. The last year has been rough with finding out that he had thyroid cancer, which led to surgery. Then he needed knee surgery. Then he got sick again. And the most recent was testosterone loss. I knew we were struggling within our relationship, but I was exhausted and struggled with depression, but focused mostly on just getting him better. And in doing this, I somehow managed to miss how important his testosterone is and what he's going through. He didn't tell me how much of a drop in testosterone he was having, which caused me to not put it as a high alert on my radar.
I'm going to pause. So being that he had thyroid cancer and he went through a whole lot of shit, that could absolutely affect his testosterone. But normally when testosterone drops, it's gradual. It doesn't just plummet.
Right.
So this is a medical anomaly maybe, but I feel they need to plug Matrix Hormones. We are a partner with them. They sponsor the podcast. If you have testosterone issues or this email makes you think you have testosterone issues, we highly recommend that you check out Matrix Hormones. If you go on there, fill out the new patient form, put in the drop-down menu to be better, it'll save you $200 on your initial consultation with them. And if you've never had your blood work done, I highly recommend doing that, because even if you are perfect, you now have a guide so that if your testosterone drops, you have something to compare it to later in life as to where you should be, so that somebody, a doctor, whatever, can get you back to where you're supposed to be.
And places are known to go, oh, well, he's at 800. We can get him up to 1,000, and that'll be a higher testosterone level, when at the highest you had could have been 1,800.
Right, which would have been rare to be that high, but
I don't know. I don't know testosterone levels, so I know that 100 is low.
Well, anything under 300 is low. They've actually just redid the numbers. Every time, like every few years, they lower the numbers.
Right, because it lowers the expectations.
Right. Well, men's testosterone, your grandparents had 3 times the testosterone that men do now on average. And when I first got my blood work done, high was 1,300 and low was 3. So like a lot of men are in that 3 to 500 range, and that's low testosterone. So anything under that is abysmally low. And there are a lot of men who are getting their testosterone checked who are in their 20s that are coming back at like 150, 200.
That's insane.
So they lowered the fucking scale because it's becoming less normal to have high testosterone. You guys need to get your blood work done. We are not okay because of the shit that's going on in this country with our food, our environmental surroundings. Like we have a masculinity issue, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of that comes down to the lack of testosterone in men.
Do you think that it's the hormones they're putting in food?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think it's increasing levels of estrogen in everybody?
Yes.
Because women are more unruly now than they have ever been.
Well, it's not a matter of being unruly. There's growth hormone in a lot of food to make things bigger. There's higher estrogen in things like you are seeing, 7 and 8 year old boys with fucking gynecomastia.
Yeah.
So
unruly probably wasn't the word. I think.
Well, we know that there are women out there who are having their menstrual cycles in single digits. It's becoming more and more common.
I am absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
Of our young child coming to me and saying, I don't know what's happening. I'm dying.
Eat organic if you can. Get your blood work done for sure.
Yeah, I've stopped taking the kids to McDonald's. We don't really do fast food anymore. It makes me uncomfortable thinking about their future.
Yep.
Even though it's easy in the moment. Back into the email. Apparently it got so bad that I kept loving him while he was secretly packing his things and had apparently decided he didn't want to be with me anymore. He started packing his things, and he even got his address changed.
Is that testosterone, or is that him being unhappy and he's using that as an excuse?
It could be.
Yeah.
He started packing his things, and he even got his address changed to where he was going to stay. I was already struggling with depression and exhaustion/burnout, but the surprise news took me out. I wasn't broken, I was destroyed. Really, though? Because you guys have been on and off. You used to be engaged, but now you're not engaged, or is that not what the relationship was, and you guys were super solid for 5 years, and then out of nowhere?
Well, she said they were engaged. They've been together for 5, engaged for 3, which immediately throws up a red flag for me. Being engaged for 3 years doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
That's a placeholder. There's no intent to actually get married there. But then she said that he had thyroid cancer and knee surgeries.
Yeah.
So if this has been ongoing for 3 years and this is what their life has become, that's also a different conversation as to why they haven't gotten married yet.
Right.
But she also said that she wasn't taking care of herself, that she's been focusing on him. So there's a self-care issue there that is going on as well. And if you are a caretaker for somebody and you're not taking care of you, that's a huge fucking problem.
It is. Okay, so I guess I'm confused on the layout of what has happened.
Well, there's not enough information.
Right. So were things good before the thyroid cancer? Or did the thyroid... I guess I just don't understand.
Yeah,
I'll just keep reading.
Yeah.
He kept all of his emotions in to where it looked like none of this bothered him whatsoever, further burying the dagger into my heart. It wasn't until the day he was supposed to call the U-Haul truck and pack his large items, because he had already moved boxes into the new place with his car, to move, that he suddenly broke. Mind you, this moving thing and whatnot was over a duration of almost 2 weeks since he said he didn't want to be with me. This isn't working for me or us, in quotations. That day, this man broke in front of a woman who already started closing the door simply due to the amount of damage that it was causing, just to preserve my own well-being and sanity. But seeing him for the first time actually show true emotion as he repeatedly said to me, I don't want to go, I don't want to leave, I was finally able to see him. We talked probably more than we ever have, and I'd like to thank you guys for providing an example of how to set those conversations, because apparently we were both very bad at it. We both agreed that we would start over, try to put more effort into both of our individual care, so that way we can improve ourselves in order to see if we can still have that relationship, or even if we should have that relationship. Are you confused? Am I just the only one?
I think it's just you. I'm not confused. I think there's a lot more going on here than his testosterone, but I'm waiting to just see what happens with the email, because right now it's just not adding up.
Yeah.
People don't end their relationship because they have low testosterone.
Right.
Sex drops, depression starts, sleeping more or less happens. A whole lot of physiological changes happens in the body. We could become more grumpy. It's no different than a woman having really high or really low estrogen. You have to be in balance. If your body's not in balance, it affects your life, but you don't destroy your relationship because your testosterone's low.
Right.
There's more shit that's happening here, and that's what I'm waiting for.
Okay. I guess that's why I'm confused.
I understand hormones
for
too much for this to be I'm leaving because my testosterone's low.
Right. Back into the email. The relationship of what we are right now is still very confusing for me because I'm still mourning the loss of what we had and the breakup in general. But it has opened the door for me to think of things in a different perspective. I had an epiphany of deep understanding of what he was going through. Us women spend our lifetime enduring our hormone fluctuations starting at puberty, going into young adulthood, then bearing children, then hitting a certain age. We have practice, we have support, we have education all around us all the time. I disagree. A vast majority of women do not understand how their bodies work.
Right. Most people don't understand how their bodies work.
So you may understand how your body works and you may have done the research yourself, but just like men are not educated on these things, the population of America is not educated on these things.
I will agree with her though that women have a lot more information out there and a lot more understanding and acceptance to hormones than men do because of hysterectomies and understanding what happens during the menstrual cycle and things like that, where men don't get that because testosterone is evil.
Right. I agree. There are so many failing mothers out there though who don't teach their daughters about their body.
Right.
I didn't really understand hormones and like the cycle of menstruation and that women go through a cycle every single month. It's not just the menstruation cycle. There are things happening in those other 3 weeks. I didn't understand all of that until I was about 25 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to point out that there are a lot of young women out there who are also being failed by the system the same way that men are.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
I do disagree that it's on the same level because it's not.
Yeah.
But
I guess it's less about what you said and more what the emailer said. Because she wrote, us women spend our lifetime enduring our hormone fluctuations starting at puberty, going into young adulthood, then bearing children, then hitting a certain age. And we have practice, we have support, and we have education all around us all the time.
I agree with all of it but the education.
I disagree with all of it.
Yeah.
Because yes, we go through these fluctuations and we experience being a woman. That doesn't mean that all of us understand
Right. Well, that's what she said.
what is happening.
She didn't say you understood it.
But then she goes on to say men don't have any of those.
On the same level as women, we don't. We don't. Most men have no idea what their testosterone numbers even should be.
Right.
Let alone what a normal range is.
Right. Just because the information is out there for women doesn't mean that women know it.
Right. But it's more acceptable for a woman to go get an estrogen pill or a patch than it is for men to go get testosterone.
I don't understand why that is. That doesn't make sense to me because...
Right. It doesn't change the fact that that's the case.
Right.
Testosterone is demonized. It's looked at as a steroid. If you take testosterone,
right,
you're on steroids.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying right now.
But that's where that comes in. So it is different for women than it is for men. Because,
so she means the demonizing aspect of it.
Right. It's more acceptable and more readily available for women than it is for men. Is it approaching?
Yes, probably.
I think this comes down more to her saying that it's more readily available for women to have this information and to get help than it is for men to get help with their testosterone.
Okay.
I think that's the gist of it.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's a fact, that it is easily more accessible for women. I think that women are trained, though, to not seek out those kinds of helps. Just like how there's domestic violence shelters that can help women. A lot of women, yeah, I know those are there, but, and then continue on living in their life. Like they don't go to the resources.
Right.
I guess what I am trying to say is that just because it's more easily accessible doesn't mean that women are more well-versed or knowledgeable on what their body is going through.
How would that not correlate?
Because I was one of those women who did not understand my body.
Right. But
with this wealth of information in the world, I went through puberty, young adulthood, adolescence, and all of that with zero information and zero understanding of what I was going through. I was just angry and depressed.
But the resources were there.
Right.
The resources for men until the last 5 years were not there.
Right. I'm not arguing that point.
So if the resources are there and it's taught in school and you have a period.
It's not taught in school.
Okay.
I'm not trying to argue against you or anything.
It's not the same. The resources being there, because a minute ago you agreed that the resources are there. People just aren't utilizing it. The resources being there means that more women are going to be informed on that than men are because there are no resources for testosterone. You have to go to an age therapy clinic to even get prescribe testosterone.
Right.
Up until like the last 2 years, GPs wouldn't even prescribe testosterone to men.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're doing it in a way that's fucking men up. And it's not helping them because they don't understand the hormones. It's not,
Right.
it's just not the same thing.
Right. I know it's not. I guess I'm trying to say that I don't want this image of that hormones are super easy for women, because it's not.
Okay. I don't think that's what she was getting at.
Okay. So when men experience testosterone loss, it is literally the first time dealing with fluctuating hormones since puberty, which most don't remember.
Right.
And a man is going to try and handle it being completely and unknowingly armed. This man has suddenly experienced sex drive loss, confidence loss, low self-esteem, body image issues, feelings of hopelessness, feelings of worthlessness, weight loss issues, sleeping problems, unexplained sadness, brain fog, feeling weak, feeling like he isn't good enough, etc.
All sides of low testosterone. Every one of them.
He was so lost and scared, he had no idea what to do. And that's why he thought that leaving the situation was what he needed to figure it out. He was completely unaware that all of this that he was feeling was due to his sudden testosterone loss. And he was about to try to handle it literally on his own, completely unarmed. After a couple of tests and doctor visits, we were able to get him the right amount he needed and get it on a regular basis. And now he is back to his regular self, being the wonderful person that I've always known him to be. I'm so happy to see him being okay again that I can't share with him that the damage is still there without causing harm to his mental health, well-being, that we have worked so hard to get him to.
Wait. So he was having a medical condition. He's now recovering from the medical condition.
And there's harbored resentment.
And you are harboring resentment towards him because he had a medical issue?
Right. Medical issues are an involuntary thing.
Right. It's not like he chose to have low testosterone.
This man was miserable. He was about to ruin his own life and broke down sobbing in front of you.
So there's a lot to this.
Right.
And I was going to wait till the end and just be like, I was going to just drop it at the very end of the email and be like, the reason why you guys had the issue that you had with him almost leaving is because he can't talk to you.
Yeah.
Because if he was able to be like, hey, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm fucking tired. I'm depressed. I don't feel good. I can't eat. Like,
right.
I'm gaining weight. I feel like a fucking blob when I look in the mirror. I'm having all these issues.
Mm.
You would have been able to maybe Google or been the logic thought process while he's going through the depressive episode. He didn't come to you because there's no safety in that. And I was just going to drop that at the end and be like, that's why the testosterone dropping the way that it did affected your marriage or relationship. But I also think that the drop comes from his thyroid and the other things that are going on in his body. I'm willing to bet he already had low testosterone, and all the medicines and shit that they're giving him probably fucked his hormones up even more.
Yeah. How can you say that you had an epiphany and this massive understanding that women have a leg up with the fact that there are more readily understood resources and there's support and there's community, and men don't have this? And in the next paragraph go, well, I hate him for it. You didn't say I hate him for it. I put that in there. You said that
the damage has been done.
I can't share with him the damage is still there without causing harm to his mental well-being.
Wait till you have menopause and hope to God that he has more grace than you do. Because you can't control that.
No, you can't.
He's going to go, I get it, babe. I remember what it was like for me to have my testosterone fucked up. Your estrogen's not right now. Your testosterone also could be wrong because that affects women too. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be here for you. I got you. Because I have an understanding. And even though I don't know what you're going through and I can't relate to that,
yeah,
I'm going to have some grace with you because I understand what it feels like to have hormones fucked up, which is what she should have said, because you're a woman and you start with it with puberty and you deal with it every month and you've got the resources and you understand that menopause is coming. So because you understand what hormones are, you should be more understanding than that.
Yeah.
You should be asking yourself why this man was ready to self-destruct instead of talking to you.
Right.
That's the real fucking question here.
Back into the email. I don't know how to tell him that I'm still angry that he hurt me so bad. Okay, it's back in my brain now. My husband, we both have borderline personality disorder. When my husband is going through an episode, that's one of those moments where he has a demon on him. That is not my husband. I am not interacting with my husband. So anything that comes out of my husband's mouth, whether it be a tone of voice or just something that's really shittily phrased, I'm not taking it personally because I know my husband would check himself. In that moment of low testosterone and he was going through that medical condition, you have to have massive grace with him because that wasn't your husband.
We've actually experienced that.
We have.
You told me, because the last company that I was with before I got with Matrix would make me come off my testosterone
They would.
to do a recheck to see if my testosterone's still fucking low, like it's going to just magically fix itself. But I would have to come off for 2 to 3 weeks. And that 2 to 3 weeks would create a depressive me where I would sleep all the fucking time. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to train. I didn't want to go anywhere.
You didn't want to have any intimacy.
I didn't want to do shit. I didn't want to be touched. Like,
Yeah.
and you were like, I don't like this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, babe. I can't control it. And luckily I found Matrix and they were able to get my shit in order. I don't have to come off anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But the person that you become when your hormones is fucked up is not the person that you are normally.
Right. And that conversation helped me see all of that.
Right.
And it was just a simple conversation of like, hey, babe, I've noticed like you really don't want to do anything anymore. And I gave my perspective. I feel like there's a lack of love, like there's a detachment happening. And that's when you elaborate on everything that you were going through because of the low testosterone.
Right.
How can I be mad at you for that? How can I hold that against you, especially when it's fixed? Like, we are back to where we were at. You are no longer that person. Things are done. Where life is great. Now we know if we start seeing those signs again, baby, you need to get your testosterone checked.
Yep.
It's all about perspective. Back into the email. I don't know how to tell him that I'm still angry that he hurt me so bad. I don't want to guilt him or make him feel bad because his testosterone caused him to make decisions he really didn't want.
So you have a conversation about the next time you're feeling like that, we need to talk about it so that I can understand what you're going through. Because if I don't know, I can't help you.
Yeah. Why didn't you feel like you could come to me?
Right.
I'm really trying to be okay and work on myself, but it hurts much knowing that he's no longer my fiance and that he could very much do the same thing and secretly pack up and leave me again.
You think that him being your fiance could stop that? It
Married
didn't
people
stop
do
the
it all the
first time.
time,
Right.
yeah.
Married people fucking abandon each other all the time.
Right.
Be the best woman you can be for him and be there and hope that he's willing to do the same thing and fix your life.
Right.
You,
That's also one you are harboring that. And now you are holding that against him. That man broke down sobbing in front of you saying, I don't want to leave. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yep.
And now you're going to hold that against him and go, well, now I'm worried you're going to leave me again. It can be in the back of your mind. Now you look out for signs and have a conversation of why did we get to that point?
Right. Hey, are you okay?
Right.
How you feeling today, babe? Right? Like,
Yeah. Back into the email. We behave like boyfriend and girlfriend, but our status hasn't changed since we chose to be labeled as single and start over from that day.
but you're still living together.
Wait, status hasn't changed since we chose to be labeled as single.
Are we talking about like on Facebook?
Right, that's what I'm wondering.
Or are you guys living together? He decided to stay and assumes that you guys are together again.
I couldn't live in that limbo. Okay, back into the email. I'm angry that all of this could have been avoided if he had the knowledge and support available to him prior to this happening. You could have been that support.
You could have. Yep, absolutely. That's exactly where my brain went. You should have been that support system.
Right.
Because women understand hormones.
In a world where men have no resources and no community and no support, the way you said earlier, you should have been the one as his fiance, as his woman to say, babe, I'm here for you. I don't know what we got to do. I don't know who we have to call, but we will figure this out.
Yep. If his testosterone dropped that fast and it got to that point, she would have seen things changing.
Right.
Hey, I noticed you're depressed. What's going on? If only men were able to talk to their women without it being thrown back in their face and weaponized against them, and we were able to be comfortable and truly have that equality in a marriage where it is okay to be like, hey, today I am thinking about eating a 45. This is what's going on and this is why. Instead, we're taught to shut the fuck up, bottle it up, and go about our life. Because we're told that if we are vulnerable or emotional in front of you, we are weak and you won't
Right.
love us anymore because of it.
Or it hurts too much to hear you say that.
Right.
I've heard you say things like that. And I have never made you feel bad for telling me those things. It hurts to hear because I experience days like that. And to truly love somebody, to know that they're going through that, it hurts.
Right.
But I don't tell me those things. Like we said, I can't remember if it was this podcast or the one we did prior, but you said you train your person how to treat you, how to be around you.
Mm-hmm.
If your man is coming to you and is being emotionally vulnerable, is like saying, "Look, I'm thinking about unaliving myself." Don't tell me that. That hurts. Why would you say that? I can't believe you would say something like that. That man was just really fucking open with you and you shut it down quick and hard.
Yep.
Back into the email. I am angry that all of this could have been avoided if he had the knowledge and the support available to him prior to this happening. But unfortunately, no man wants to talk about it or bring it to awareness.
That's not true at all.
Meet my husband, Chris.
Who's been promoting matrix hormones for a year now.
Even before we got with matrix hormones, when we started the podcast, you were really big on hormones because you understand what it does to the body.
Well, it was because it kept making me come off of them.
Right.
And all of the times that I was heavy about unaliving myself, it was when I was off my testosterone.
It was.
We need that hormone to function the way the man is supposed to function. Just like you guys don't function properly without estrogen,
Right.
we need testosterone. It is our main hormone in our body that makes us men. But it's demonized.
Right.
And for men who think that testosterone is a steroid instead of a fucking hormone that's in our system, it's because it's not, our hormones are not educated the way that your hormones are.
Right.
Which is what I was trying to get at in the beginning.
That makes sense, the way that you just said that. I don't know if you were saying it the exact same way prior, but that just clicked differently in my brain. To know that men demonize men for taking steroids.
Well, most men do.
Steroids
Yeah.
or hormones. That's insane to me.
Yep.
And to say that no man wants to talk about it.
That's not true, though.
The men at Matrix Hormones, vast wealth of knowledge there. And they are driven to help men and women with their hormones.
Yep.
If you say no man wants to talk about it, you haven't researched enough. Like you have not even looked into anything.
Right. There's communities everywhere. Facebook, Discord, fucking Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of places that you can get information about testosterone. Men need that shit. And it's more common for men to talk about it in private than it is for men to just discuss it openly because it is shunned.
Right.
But you look at it, any gym thing anywhere, there's more men on testosterone who go to the gym than you know what I mean? Like it's just normal. It's a very normal thing. But it should be normalized. It should not be demonized and shunned. Testosterone as a whole shouldn't be demonized, but it is in the feminist movement. Toxic masculinity stems from testosterone.
That's another one of those things to just make men appear like they are
weak,
the weaker species, and
they want to.
They are the problem. They are the aggressors because of testosterone. Back into the email. Not even the doctor prepared him for the emotional and mental changes that he was going to endure. They just prescribed him the testosterone supplement and sent him on his way. This isn't fair and this isn't right. Nothing in life is fair.
That makes no sense.
What?
That whole thing doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I know how I felt when I was in my 20s.
Right.
The doctor gives you testosterone and you start injecting yourself with testosterone, right? You actually stick yourself with a needle in the muscle and inject an oil into your body. And they don't tell you that this is going to fix your depression and your mental health, and you didn't go and Google it.
Right.
You just started sticking yourself because some random doctor told you to.
Yeah. That's what people do.
No, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Men know what testosterone does. You ask almost, I would say 85 to 90% of men, if you were to say, what would testosterone do if you had a higher testosterone? They're going to tell you I would fuck like a rabbit. I would feel like I was 20. My aches and pains would go away. I'd be rejuvenated. I'd sleep. I'd eat. My weight would go down. Like, we know. Most men know the effects of testosterone. They just don't know how to get their hands on it.
Right.
Or they think that it's evil to stick yourself with it because now you're taking steroids.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the last 5 or 10 years has been a very big shift.
Yes.
In that. But I believe beforehand that wasn't the case, which is why I was making the argument earlier.
Yeah.
And I only have to say that because somebody's gonna be like, well, earlier in the episode you said, ugh.
Right.
Well, I'm explaining it now, so.
I want to touch on this isn't fair. I tell our kids all the time, nothing in life is fair.
Yeah.
Nothing in life is fair. Any argument that you can make out there, it wasn't fair. Was it right that it happened? No, probably not, because there are some very egregious people out there who do very foul things. I'm very much not okay on so many different levels with this whole situation, but damn it, I'm going to try to make sure that he is okay. Okay, so now I'm confused. So there is anger built up within you. There's, from my perspective, it seems like resentment because of things that happen when he's on low testosterone.
That's not in his control. The testosterone's not in his control.
Not in his control. There were chemistry within the body was not right. So even though all of that happened, you don't know how to talk to him. You don't care how not okay you are, you still want him to be okay. You're going to further build the resentment that you have towards him because your needs aren't being met while you still go above and beyond to make sure his are. There has to be a point where you take a step back and go, okay, I'm breaking this cycle and I have to have this conversation with him. You are not going to go above and beyond to make sure he's okay while continuing to suppress your own emotions because it's going to bleed out into the world and it's going to affect your husband. Or not your husband. Partner, question mark?
Well, that's the problem. Here's a breakdown of all of this.
Yeah.
He was unaware of the importance of testosterone in his body and did not think to have it checked until it was too late. That's number one.
Okay.
That is not something that was in his control. It was a lack of knowledge. Therefore, he was ignorant to what was happening, and it dictated things on an emotional level and almost destroyed their relationship.
Right.
He confessed what was going on, decided to stay. She now has resentment because they have not worked through the fact that they are living together and still not together with a title.
Right.
And that's where the issue comes in because they fixed the hormones. He's back to being who he was, but has not given her the title of girlfriend or fiance yet. And she has hung up on the need for a status. That's the issue of the email.
That's just a conversation.
That's all it is. Hey, are we going to actually take a run at this again? Or are you just biding your time until you're going to move out?
You told me you were leaving. You didn't.
You got your hormones figured out.
So are we engaged still? Or like what's happening with our life?
Right. All of the testosterone talk is the precursor to what happened as to why they're not together, and her resentment is because he has still not given her a title. The status is still not definitive. I would assume, and you should never assume because you make an ass out of you and me,
right.
But I would assume that if we were at that point and I decided to stay and I'm crying and sobbing and telling you that I don't want to leave,
right,
that our relationship is getting, that we're not separating.
Right, nothing's changed. Yeah, That's exactly how I would have taken that.
Yep.
Like moving the final boxes, you break down sobbing in front of me.
I'm not going anywhere.
I don't want to leave. Word, I don't want you to leave.
Right. We're working through this.
Yeah.
And if I needed to know clarity, hey, are we still married? Are we still going to get married? Are we still in a relationship? I would ask.
Right.
Are you fucking? It's a good question, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you think that if you needed that status before you had sex again and started making that a thing, that you'd had that conversation with him?
Yeah. Back into the email. I normally don't email or socialize much, so I hope this story that I'm living could just help one person or couple.
I'm sure that's going to help a lot of dudes.
I think it will too, yeah.
Now for my formulated thought.
Okay, it's formulated.
The biggest issue in this entire situation is not his low testosterone, not her issue for a status or a title. It's not the lack of communication that's had on a regular basis. It's the fact that he was not able to come to you when he was wanting to leave, was going through a major depressive episode, and was wanting to deal with it on his own.
Right. That's the distancing that somebody does when they are ready to okay, I'm done with everything.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you didn't recognize it, and he wasn't comfortable enough telling you about it.
You're not fucking leaving.
Yeah. This is where your issue really lies.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Everything else has kind of just been the fallout of...
Right. It's byproduct.
Yeah.
Which is even crazier to me because if he had thyroid cancer, that could create a whole lot of problems anyways. Your thyroid is a vital function of your body. When your thyroid stops working, there's a whole lot of things that can go wrong. But if he had thyroid cancer and he beat it and then had knee surgery and he beat it, you were obviously there through that. Did you train him through those other two things that he can't come to you because you're getting tired of being a caretaker because you didn't do self-care?
which was evident, and I'm very much not okay on so many different levels with this whole situation, but damn it, I'm going to make sure he's okay.
Right.
I don't want anyone to go through this, but if I could just prevent one, I'll consider that a win. That is a win. If you can prevent one person from going through a shitty experience by giving them the tools they need beforehand, that is 100% a win. Thank you so much for providing guidance through your YouTube and TikTok platforms. I don't have friends, but you guys do make me feel like I have some, so thank you dearly. I get not having friends. You're not missing out on much.
Yeah. I crave that community.
Yeah. I don't. I think it's nice to have people to experience life with. I'm very much an internal person. You're really the only person I talk to through things on my internal life. And of course, I share things on the podcast to help others navigate their own life, but I don't really divulge much to other people.
I pick and choose who I divulge things to. Not everybody needs every facet of who I am as a person. But I miss the community. I miss having somebody to challenge my thoughts. If that dude had somebody that he could have went to and explained everything that was going on with him, somebody could have been like, hey man, have you had your blood checked in a while?
Right.
There could have been a conversation there, but we need that community, because if you only view your life perspective through your lens and you don't have anyone to challenge that perspective, that is your reality unchecked.
Right.
You will never grow. You will never get any better because you don't have an outside community trying to lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where having a church group comes in, or having a group of men to sit down and work through relationship problems with you, or be your support when you're having a crisis or you're thinking about unaliving yourself. Like, we need to be able to have those people to reach out to. People need that. Men need that more than anyone, because we don't have that in our homes most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and this email shows that, because he wasn't able to go to her. I really hope that they're able to sit down and have a conversation and get all that shit fixed.
Me too. Me too.
Let's do another one.
So this one is titled Patreon OG Update / Advice Needed.
Okay.
Oh, this is Moose and Mags. Chris and Peaches, first hello. I hope y'all are thriving in life and continue to see the amazing things y'all are doing and have done for the community you have built. I have y'all to thank for giving me and my husband the healthy tools we needed to rebuild our marriage, and thanks to that, we are better than we have ever been. Also, I have written and deleted this email 5 or 6 times before ever sending it. I've done that because I do not want to seem like we have been or are the perfect partners. We are far from it, and constantly learn new and better ways to interact with our kids and manage day-to-day life while battling anything we have to do. Little update on life. Photography business is thriving and growing like crazy. I am finally almost to the point of being able to purchase a new camera so that I can take photos to the next level.
She did purchase a new camera.
Did she? That's dope.
She posted it to Discord.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. A few financial setbacks caused me to start over with saving for it, but family comes first. Kids / life. Our little ones are doing amazing. We just found out our 5-year-old is dyslexic, so that has been an adjustment. However, we are making the best of it and pushing her to strive farther and surpass this. Now on to the needed advice. A little information on what is expected of him while living here. Oh, this is in regards to an 18-year-old son. Are you talking about your husband? Hang on. Okay. 1, help with the dogs, take out the trash, clean your bathroom / bedroom, and handle your dirty clothes. 2, respect our rules. Even if you don't agree with them, we have these rules for a reason. 3, finish out high school and get a job. 4, if you have something you want to talk to us about, do your best to come at us respectfully. We have an 18-year-old son who still lives at home with us. No biggie, right? Well, it has become a biggie. He has 0 drive to do anything other than play video games, download phone apps that he says he's meeting people his age on, only to find out they are much younger than him. I'm sorry, is your son a fucking pedophile? He is an 18-year-old reaching out to kids younger than him? We have stressed how much of a situation that can put him in, and it either doesn't click or he doesn't care. I am 100% that parent. I will call the cops on my son. I am not playing that game. I don't care how much I love my child. If my son is out here damaging girls for sexual gratification or romantic gratification, that's a problem. If that is what you're referring to and what you're talking about with your son, that's not something that you wait for. That's not something that you hold back on and go, well, he's always been such a great kid. He would never hurt anybody. I'm not playing that game. That situation would be really tough and it would hurt and it would break my heart and I would be sobbing. I would be absolutely devastated. That is one of those games you do not play. That's action. That is terrifying to me.
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
If he's 18 years old, just turned 18 years old, and he's talking to a girl who turns 18 in a month, other than the law saying that that's unacceptable because she's under 18, where's the foul in that? She's literally a month younger than him.
I would agree with that, but the emailer said only to find out that they are much younger than him.
Okay, so then at 18 years old, because that's what makes somebody an adult.
Right.
What constitutes an issue in terms of Peach's mindset for a younger person? Because what if they're a year younger than him?
When I hear much younger, I'm hearing 15 and younger than that.
Okay. So I agree that they're still kids at that point.
Right.
But I'm curious as to what your opinion, because see, I understand this is actually an argument that a lot of people make about men who date older women.
Right.
Because if they date somebody who's 18, if they were 17 and a half, they would still probably be okay with it because at 6 months isn't really that big of a deal to somebody who's lived life.
Right.
At 28 versus 20, there's an 8-year difference there, and we're okay with that even though there's still lived life experience.
Right.
This age thing where you become an adult and it becomes underage and it's an issue is not so much an age thing, but a child thing.
Right.
So like what constitutes a child, and for that to be a thing, because there are 15 and 16-year-olds who are living on their own and working and surviving because of child abuse, right? And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just curious as to where that lands. Because
I would also say that's an extreme situation, though.
it absolutely is. It is an exception, not the rule. And I fucking get that. I agree that if he's 18 years old talking to a 13, 14-year-old kid, that's a fucking problem.
It would take everything in me not to beat the shit out of my kid.
Right. So I just wanted to know, because if he's talking to 17-year-olds and he's 18, I understand that that's illegal.
Right.
But I don't, it's a year.
Right.
Like,
That's an 18 and 19-year-old.
right. I don't see the difference in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
If he was 30 and talking to a 17-year-old, I would have a fucking problem
I'm
with
kicking
that.
indoors.
Right. So it matters. Like we put this social stigma on what is and what is not okay. If he's 18 and talking to 17-year-old 364 days, technically, if he slept with her on that day, he's a pedo. So where does that...
Well, that's where the age of consent comes in with the state. Like a lot of states is 16, a lot of states is 17.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to know, because I know it said much younger, but I think that that's a conversation that a lot of people need to have, because there are 18-year-olds who have 16 and 17-year-old girlfriends because maybe they failed a grade in school.
Right. You know, I've thought about that a lot too. If one of our children came to me and said, I know that I'm 16, I'm dating this dude who just graduated high school, I'm meeting the guy, there is a courting phase that's happening. There's no sleepovers that are happening, but we can see where this goes. You can definitely start building your foundation into an actual life together. I'm going to monitor it though, because you're a minor in my household.
See, but that would be a 16 or a 17-year-old conversation, not a 13 or a 14-year-old conversation.
Correct.
It's crazy to me how it's very cut and dry in terms of legalities.
Right.
But when you look at the situations, it may not be.
Right. And you actually break down the things that are going on.
Right.
It's not right or wrong and black and white.
No. From the 17 to 19 area, it's gray.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Even then, when I look at our children when they're 16, you're still going to be 3 years old in my mind. Like,
right.
You will always be my child.
Well, and that speaks to the innocence of the child.
Right.
It speaks on the person that's coming into their life and the reason why they're coming into life. There's a lot that needs to be discussed in that.
Right.
Yeah.
It does.
Yep.
It does.
And I'm not arguing for that to be a thing.
Just the conversations that have to happen.
Just a conversation about, if that was our situation, where would that be?
Right.
If our son at 18 years old had a 17-year-old girlfriend It's a year of a difference.
Right.
I would be like, don't fuck her, because if she gets mad or
Yeah.
gets pregnant or the parents get mad or press charges, you're going to jail. But if they start dating at 16 and 17 and he turns 18 and she turns 17,
Right.
isn't there like a Romeo and Juliet law or some shit where that takes factor?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay. Back into the email though, what he's doing using apps to talk to children is a fucking problem.
It is a fucking problem.
Okay. Because he's actively looking to find people who are younger than him.
That's what I meant by
versus
the
it being a social setting where he's in high school with a girl who happens to be a year younger than him in the same class.
Right. Exactly.
Those conversations need to be had.
Correct. Add to that monthly outbursts of anger and throwing attitude at people in the house because of situations that are beyond our control. Things like him not wanting to go to his biological mom's, which we have told him a million times now that he is 18, he does not have to go, yet he still chooses to go. Or the fact that we won't let him sit around all day doing nothing but playing video games or sleeping. He also lashes out at our toddlers over what I feel like are very stupid reasons to lose it with them.
Why is he involved with the toddlers on that level anyways?
He is damaging your toddlers.
Yeah.
And you are just letting it happen? Because he has angry outbursts?
Also, again, processing some shit in my head.
Me too. I'm processing a lot.
I would not. Okay. So our son and our daughter, when they turn 18 years old, are going to have two very different existences.
Yes, they will.
And I don't give a fuck how people feel about that. I'm going to raise our young lady very differently than I'm going to raise our young man.
Yep.
And at 18 years old, if he's not in school, he's getting a job and will be paying rent here.
Yep.
You are an adult now. You no longer have a curfew. You can go do whatever the fuck you want to do, but rent's due on the 1st.
Yeah.
Come the 5th, if I don't have rent, we're not doing a late payment. Bitch, you're moving the fuck out of my house. Like, we're going to hardcore do this shit. You're going to pay for your own cell phone. If I buy you a car, you're paying your car insurance.
Right.
Like, you are going to be a young adult and learn responsibility while you're staying here and trying to save money so that when you turn 25, you can move the fuck out of our house.
I also expect him to have at least a business starting by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have every intention of making him have a full-time job, or as full as it can be for a minor at 15, 16 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Even if that means he's working for us in some fashion. You will have a job while still in high school, preferably learning a trade, doing on-the-job training, something. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be McDonald's. It's not going to be Publix or fucking Walmart.
Right.
You're going to have a real job doing real shit so that when you turn 18, you have real income. And I will hold him to that. There's not going to be sleeping. When I wake up in the morning, you're not sleeping in, bro. I don't care if it's 5:30. If I wake up at 3 because I can't sleep anymore, guess who's getting out of bed at 3 a.m.? He is. Because if I can't sleep, you ain't sleeping. Mm-hmm. Especially if you ain't got a job. I will make his life hell.
I love that.
After 18 years old if he's doing that shit.
Yeah, we're not playing this game.
Yep. It's going to be real hard for you to play video games when you ain't got no internet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we would not have a single TV in the house.
Yeah.
Get rid of all that shit. We'll have candles.
Yeah, I am a hard ass when it comes to things like that. You will have discipline and you will fucking do the thing, and you can resent me for it.
Yeah.
And you can hate me. But when you're 40 years old and you got a family and your kids are thriving and your life is good, you'll look back and be like, damn, I realize why he did that shit now.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
Yep. Back into the email. He doesn't understand that my 2-year-old is still at a point where she relies on crying as a form of communication, as we are still getting her to use her words to express when something is wrong. He takes offense to everything that gets said, even when it's nothing to do with him, and plays the victim card constantly.
So kick him out. He's 18 years old. He's an adult now.
Yeah.
He is a guest in your home. He may be your son, but he's a guest in your home. At 18, you're an adult. You want to act like an adult. I hate to say this because it's child abuse, because he is technically their child, but he's a man.
Right.
Dad needs to be like, you want to yell at my 2-year-old again? I'm going to treat you like another man yelling at my 2-year-old. Raise your voice one more time, motherfucker, and we're going to step outside. And I would beat the brakes off that motherfucker.
That's exactly what would happen to anybody else raising their voice at our children.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you think that because you're related that that's okay? Nope.
Yep.
Nope. You're going to learn some hard life lessons today. And if you don't want to learn those hard life lessons, you can either act right or you can get out.
Yep.
I'm not doing that. To be in your home after the age of 18 when you're an adult is a fucking privilege.
It is a blessing.
Your parents don't owe you that shit. If you're 18 years old and you're living with your parents right now and you're not paying rent and you're not going to school and you're not doing video game, or you are doing video games and going out and getting fucking drunk all the time and doing all the shit that
You're
a normal
mooching.
18-year-old kid does, you're a mooch.
You're
You are a
mooching.
fucking liability to your parents.
Yep.
You're a dependent. You're not contributing anything of value. You are existing off the grace of the people who are taking care of you.
Yep.
You need to respect their fucking house.
Yep.
Don't like that shit at all. Your parents don't fucking owe you anything after you turn 18.
Yep. And for the people in the comments, the same thing goes the other way. Children don't owe their parents anything.
Nope.
If the parents were massively abusive in childhood and provided food, water, and shelter, and that's all that they did, you don't owe them shit when you move out.
You don't, even if they did more than that, you don't owe
Yeah.
them shit. They decided to have a child. It's their
Right.
responsibility to keep you alive and do what they can to make you survive
human.
until you're 18.
Yeah.
And I don't care if they go above and beyond and pay for your college and buy you a car and do all that shit. When you become an adult, you don't owe them that.
Yeah.
You some gratitude. Hey, thanks for being a good parent. You owe them that much because they could have
Right.
abused you. But beyond that, you don't owe them shit.
Mm-hmm.
They chose to have a child.
Correct. Back into the email. Pair that with the factor of blaming myself and his dad for everything instead of taking accountability for his own choices and mistakes. He is also very much the kind of person who expects everything to be his way all the time. He wants us to constantly bend our rules to benefit him with his social life as far as when he is able to get his electronics.
You guys realize that you cultivated this mindset.
I agree with that,
Okay.
yep. Keep in mind that he is 18 with no job, has not finished high school yet. He is working on that currently, and we also pay for all of his stuff, phone, clothes, items he needs for basic hygiene. We provide internet, food, etc.
So stop doing all that.
I
He-
would 100% stop doing all of that.
He's in high school still.
Yep.
So I understand him being there because he's still in high school and needs to graduate. But all of that other shit is extracurricular.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't want to work, you give him fucking chores. These are the things that have to be done in order for you to have a cell phone. And if you don't do these things, I'm not paying that bill. It's no different than a job. The cell phone is a paycheck for you doing these chores.
Yep.
You set your fucking standard in your house and then you adhere to it. And if he can't do that, you take everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be real fucking hard for you to play video games with no video games in your room, no internet, no cell phone. I buy all that shit.
Yeah.
You want to eat? I don't have to feed you anymore. You're an adult now.
And this 18-year-old's never been challenged.
Right.
He gets what he wants when he wants it. When he throws a fit and screams and yells, and
That's assuming. It's
that
hypothetical.
is assuming, yeah.
I also would assume that because of the email, but
Right. I am so hung up on reaching out to the younger girls.
yeah, I am too.
I would be that mom who calls the authorities on her own child. I am not having grace in that. There is a firm line of we do not harm children, and that applies to everybody within my life.
Yep.
He is supposed to be leaving for Job Corps to finish out his schooling and get a job training afterwards. However, we have not heard from them on when he is supposed to start, and in the meantime, having him get a job is hard. One, because he doesn't have a driver's license, plus with our schedules and things we have going on with our kiddos. So you guys failed to get him a driver's license.
Well, okay, so let's look at that because I don't know where they live.
Yeah.
If they're in a small podunk town and they live 15 miles from a store or anything, it's going to be a lot harder for him to get a job.
Right.
If they live in a city, St. Petersburg, Tampa, Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, any of the major cities, major metropolises,
Right.
all he needs is a fucking bicycle and an ID.
Yep.
Very different conversation. So depending on where they live, that matters. But I agree at 16, he should have got a driver's license.
Yep. That's going to be one of the stipulations. You want all the shit that you have now?
Get your
Get
license.
your driver's license.
Yep.
And the longer you put it off, you're going to lose the internet. You're going to lose your TV. You're going to lose your phone. You're going to lose all the nice shit that we have purchased for you just to have fun until you can get this life thing taken care of.
Yep. Yeah. Our kids will have their they'll have their learning permit at 15.
Yeah.
They'll learn how to drive before then.
I was about to say, I learned how to drive when I was 13 or 14 years old on a stick shift.
I was much younger than that.
Yeah.
But farm life.
Right. Back into the email. I am at a loss for how to add getting him back and forth to work on top of it all.
That's not a you problem. That's
You
a
get him
him
his
problem.
driver's license.
Or just get him
or
a
a bike.
bicycle. Or
A
an
scooter.
electric bicycle if need be.
Yeah.
Them Chevrolet legs, depending on where you live. If he's
Yeah.
in walking distance, his ass can get a job.
Yeah.
I rode a bike and skateboarded everywhere. I didn't have my own real car. Like my first I owned vehicle, I was in my 20s already.
Yeah.
But I had had my driver's license since I was 16, and I would get to drive other people's vehicles. But I bought my Ford Thunder Chicken for
Yeah.
$300, and that was the first time I had real financial freedom. Not financial freedom. That's the first time I had true like freedom to go and live and do shit because it was my car and nobody could take it from me.
Yeah. He has some mental health diagnosis already, but he also shows signs of borderline personality disorder. We have gotten to the point that conversations with him about what he's doing or lack of doing are going nowhere. He shuts down completely, plays the victim, and automatically jumps to the defense whenever we call him out on how he's acting, trying to show him how his actions are affecting not only him, but the others around him, etc. To honestly put it bluntly, we have made it known to our 18-year-old that his options are respect our home and our rules while doing what is asked of you or move out. We have also explained to him that with moving out, we will no longer pay for his phone, clothes, or personal hygiene needs/wants. As well as if he comes over here for any reason at that point, he would be visiting and not staying here. We are also doing our best to make sure our home is a safe, drama-free, as much as possible, zone for our family, as we know it is important to make sure our home is happy and healthy.
Yep.
Any advice you can give on this is so greatly appreciated. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't even let him leave my house knowing that he's reaching out to minors.
Yeah, I would take his phone because it's an app that he's downloading to do that. So
Right.
that's the answer to that. Remove the phone. Take the tablet. Take the phone. If he has access to that shit and you're paying for it, take it because you're enabling that behavior.
Yeah.
Get a bicycle or a skateboard or whatever's got to get for his ass to get to and from, depending on where you live. Don't buy him a car. He needs to do that himself.
Yeah.
I would create a living agreement. He's an adult now. If you own your house and he's an adult, you can sublet a room under a contractual agreement of things that are expected until he starts paying you rent.
Right.
If he defaults on that, you can evict him.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, that's obviously an extreme way to teach him responsibility, and that was the whole point of that, was to teach him contractual obligations. I gotta be honest, you're not staying in my house. The yelling at the 2-year-old will get your ass beat. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really, really, really hung up on him talking to younger girls. I really am. I could not, in good conscience, let my son free into the world, knowing at that point he is unsupervised, unlimited access on the internet to whomever he wants to get in contact with. I would be looking into resources like, do I call the police? Do I need to get in touch with a mental facility? If I heard later on down the line that something happened with a minor and my son was the cause of it, and I knew that this was happening 5 years prior.
yep, you enabled it. You
Oh my
allowed that shit to
gosh.
happen. Yep, absolutely.
I would feel like I had a hand in ruining that child's life.
I think the answer to this is to strip all that shit. Take the cell phone, tablets, video games, everything that you have paid for to give him and make him earn it back and treat it like a paycheck. You don't have a right to a television. You didn't buy that. I did. You don't have a right to a video game console. I bought that. All those games that you're playing came off of my credit card. You're an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
When you move out, you can take all that shit with you, and at that point, it will be yours. But as long as you're living here, part of you being here is that these things are not yours unless you earn them.
Right.
Get a job. If you want to have a cell phone, you get a job and pay for your own cell phone. This is not a thing anymore. I'm not going to be an enabler in the things that you're currently doing, knowing that you're fucking talking to minors. And I had the conversation earlier about the minor thing because if he's talking, again,
Right.
he's in high school. If he's dating a 17-year-old in one of his classes, that's a different conversation than talking to a 13 or a 14-year-old girl. Yep.
I wish that was specified.
I wish it was too.
Because like I said, I'm really hung up on that. And everything else in that email does not fucking matter to me because this man is now a threat to society.
Well, he's a threat to the 2-year-old too if he's
He
coming
is.
unglued at a 2-year-old.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the 2-year-old doesn't understand that. Just like that 2-year is crying, trying to get something.
Right.
She's now seeing that screaming and yelling because of her emotions.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand that.
No, yeah, he needs to get his ass beat by dad.
Yeah. Dad needs to take his ass outside.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The problem with that is in the event that he calls the cops and dad beat the shit out of him, it's an assault charge or a battery charge because of it.
I did it in defense of my 2-year-old.
Right. That would be
I felt like my 2-year-old's life was in danger.
That would be the answer. I dragged him outside and beat his ass because he went after my 2-year-old.
Yep.
Done.
And I would back that shit up too.
If I was her, absolutely.
Learn a lesson.
Yep.
Don't ever come into my home and act like that again to my toddlers.
Yeah. Charged the 2-year-old. Dad grabbed him by the throat, took him outside and handled it.
Yep.
You have the right to defend your family.
Right.
Even if it's against your family because of the castle. I mean, I don't know where they live.
Right.
We're not lawyers. We're not giving legal advice. Get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big problem. I know we have to that thank you email, but I'm hungry.
Well, then let's just quickly read it. It'll take us 5 minutes. We just won't interrupt the thank you. Mutual combat needs to be a thing.
I agree 100%. I hope you guys are able to work through this however you work through that. I know what I would do in that situation, or the avenues I would start looking at and taking. I am sorry that shit's happening.
It's crazy while you're looking at that, looking for an email. It's crazy to me that we put being an adult to a number.
Right.
You're an adult when you turn 18 when you're not. You're still a child at 18 years old. You need to go through things to make you an adult.
Yeah.
We need a rite of passage. You look at the Spartans and what they had to go through to become men. You look at tribes in like New Guinea. They have the crocodile people where they have to go through rites of passage with scarification. Like there are things that need to be done to make you a man. I believe that.
I plan on doing that with our kids.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be milestones of like, okay, now you're 12. Your pre-puberty shit's about to happen. I don't know, like our little man being a gentleman.
Yeah.
As he develops and gets older and those things become a thing, I want there to be a rite of passage and like almost a ceremony type thing of like, okay, now you are going to leave childish shit behind because you're an adult.
Yep. You know that used to be a thing. I mean, obviously it's still a thing in every culture but ours. We don't have one of those. But when you look at what was going on 200 years ago in this country, there were 15-year-old kids who were running farms.
Yeah.
And were like working and providing. And like, it was not, you didn't get to be a kid because you were a kid. You had children out of necessity to continue to work and thrive.
And live.
Right. So those kids who were being homeschooled and working on a farm were acting like adults at 14 and 15 years old because they had real responsibilities.
Yeah.
Kids don't have that anymore. We have a comfort in our society now that has never existed in humanity. And it's made us weak, depressed, and fucking broken.
And fat.
Yeah, that too.
Next email.
Thank you, email.
Life update. You are doing the Lord's work. Hello. I am sending this email to simply say thank you. I sent an email in April of 23 titled A Fork in the Road before I had a real chance to listen and process the things you were teaching on the podcast. I hadn't taken accountability and had a victim mentality. After listening to the episode for a little under a year now, after listening to the podcast for a little under a year now, and having caught up on all of the episodes, I can say with relief and confidence that I am not the person who wrote that email back in April.
That's gangster.
It is gangster. I was angry at the world, depressed, and had almost no self-worth. And if I had continued down that path, I was headed for divorce. I had poured my love into everyone else around me, my husband, my 6-year-old, and my 4-year-old, and had nothing in my cup for myself at the end of the day. But I was making excuses and needed to make a better effort to communicate my needs to my husband and find out what time I could. I am a stay-at-home mom of 6 years and didn't think it was possible for me to have the time I needed to show myself kindness and the same love I so willingly give to others. I started going to therapy, praying, and going to the gym regularly. I have lost 97 pounds in the last year.
Fucking get it.
My goal is 100 pounds, and I am so close to my goal. I started off at 267, and am now, as of this morning, 169.
Fucking get it.
That makes me emotional.
Yeah, that's huge.
Holy shit.
And she's doing all of the good shit for self-care.
She
Gym,
is.
therapy. Yeah. Yeah.
Man. I bet it feels so good to be you right now. My husband and I have both had 100-pound weight loss.
It's a big deal.
Oh my gosh. Nothing in life is as heavy as carrying around your own fat.
Yep.
Not only do I have the confidence I haven't had since I was 16, but I can run around with my kids freely and without losing my breath.
So important.
That is priceless.
Did she say that or did you?
She said that.
Yep.
That was one of the reasons I was so gung-ho about losing my weight, is that I recognized, one, I couldn't fit into a bathtub. And two, if I had to get my children out of a life-threatening situation, I physically did not have the endurance to do that.
Yep. And now we run, play, kick, climb.
Ride bikes,
ride four-wheelers. Yeah, we do all that shit now. And it just took us losing the weight. That's huge. She's fucking killing it. And the self-care she obviously listened to early episodes.
Yeah, she did.
Because we preached that self-care shit hard in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
I think we should do some recap episodes.
Yeah. Just revisits.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I do give credit to my hard work and determination to myself. I firmly believe if you guys hadn't lit that fire under my ass, I wouldn't have made the changes I needed to make. My marriage is thriving in all categories, and we have fallen in love all over again.
Good.
I have more patience with my children and have a new outlook on life. Reading all of this, it sounds like I am being a tad bit dramatic, but really and truly, you guys are doing the Lord's work.
We believe that too. Or we would have quit this by now.
Yeah. While my husband works a lot, we do find time to sit down together and watch the podcast on YouTube and have discussions on important topics we otherwise would not have had. It's so cool that I got to reconnect with the love of my life, and our marriage is in It's so cool that I got to reconnect with the love of my life, and our marriage is in such a secure place. We are unable to be part of the Discord because we are saving for a home, our first home, which we are incredibly excited about. We hope to close with our lender at the end of March. In the future, when finances are settled, we hope to become a part of the Discord family. So in short, thank you. You have saved so many marriages, and I will never be able to repay what you guys have so willingly offered to all of us. Can't wait to see where the future takes y'all.
We will make sure that we pray for your house closing because it's the beginning of March.
It is the beginning of March.
We will pray for you. Thank you for the kind words. The shit means a lot.
It does. It makes me emotional.
Yeah. She got to recreate the relationship with the same person, right? Like she was able to have a new relationship with the same man.
And it's a deeper love than it was before.
So fucking gangster.
I love it. I love that so much. I love ending with the thank you emails.
Yeah.
Why do you look at me like that?
Because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
She took accountability and said that we did all the work, but if it wasn't for us lighting that fire, she wouldn't have done it.
Right.
And I can take that credit.
I can take that credit
too. See,
too.
that feels good. Like, hey, thank you for just being the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Like, I will take that.
That means so much more to me than hearing you guys changed my life.
Yeah.
Thank you for being the voice of reason that made me recognize I needed to get my shit together.
Yeah.
Because you are the one who got your shit together and put it in that backpack, not us.
You did the work. You did the fucking work. When you could have sat there and made excuses, you chose otherwise.
And be angry at us and talk shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready to eat?
I am.
With that being said, guys, remember you are the author of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
We love you guys.
She does. I don't. I'm kidding.